This is the Adam Carriker Show.
Position right of the quarterback, out of the shotgun, 1st and 20. Jailbreak screen in the air. It is tipped. It is intercepted by Carriker at the Missouri 21-yard line.
Live from the heart of Lincoln, America, 8-year NFL vet and All-American defensive lineman Adam Carriker.
Shotgun snap to Everett. He's got the left arm going, and now he's got a whole lot of Adam Carriker who rips him down inside the 25-yard line.
On 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Here is your host, Adam Carriker.
Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, to the Adam Carriker Show here on 93.7 The Ticket. But you're going to get the show that gives you unique insights, unbridled honesty, and producer Jake and I have a whole lot of fun in the process. We're going to talk Husker sports, college football, and sports in general as well. Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, noon to 1 p.m. Central Time. Grab your lunch. Come join us. Maybe at some point during the hour, I'll say one intelligent thing, but good luck to me on that. What do we strive to be, Jake? Just a little smarter than the average dumb guy. Isn't that what the one caller said one time?
Yeah, I like that.
We're a little bit smarter than the average dumb guy. That's our goal here on the Adam Carriker Show. All right. I mean, there's so much to freaking talk about. You got the college football national championship game tonight, Notre Dame, Ohio State. You got 4 NFL playoff games to react to. Both my former teams, all right, made it to the divisional round. One I have much thicker ties to simply because the Rams moved halfway across the country, and literally everybody is different inside that franchise. The equipment guy is different. Everybody is. The trainers are different. Everybody's different. The D tackle who started next to me, Leroy Glover, was there. He was the guy that helped the rookies get acclimated to the NFL. I don't believe he's there anymore. That was literally my last tie. So hence why I'm a lot bit more tied to the Commanders. They're in the NFC Championship game. Literally nobody saw that coming. The only person, and I didn't see it coming, but every year my family and I would do like an NFL pick'em. And so we have enough kids. We actually have to, my wife and one of our twin daughters had to buddy up. We actually have enough kids that everybody can pick an AFC and NFC team, and we can just do it within our family. And so I got like the worst draw. Like I was like, so if you're first, you're last, second, you have the second pick, you're second to last. Like I was like almost dead in the middle. Like just like I got a crap team here and a crap team here, and okay, whatever. So I ended up with the Commanders by default. I think I was choosing between them, and I hadn't. You have to pick one AFC, NFC. So I think it was my first pick, and I think I was choosing between them and the Chargers, which I ended up taking the Chargers because I had the very next pick. So it really was no decision. But I chose the Commanders because they had 12 wins, playoffs. He's done pretty well, by the way. I'm not going to say that I knew this was going to happen or I predicted this. I basically got the crap pick, and I took the 2 teams that I thought were the least bad out of the ones that were left, and I got lucky with one of them. That's really what it was. But for me, it's kind of cool because there's a lot of people still in that organization that I know, and I do 100% root for the Commanders to do very, very well at all times. We also, as always, we're going to talk Husker sports. We got Husker bowling. Husker bowling, ladies and gentlemen. Jay, can you do me a favor? Can you look up like just the national championships, the college, the conference championships? I mean, just we might have the best bowling program in the country. And I don't say that as a joke. I'm dead serious. It's not talked about enough. Okay. So we're going to chat about them. Jake's going to look that up when I get back to that in a few minutes. We'll discuss that. But I do have some genuine concerns because I've talked about how I'm excited about the offensive portal additions and the defensive portal additions and everything else. And I gave grades, and they were very good grades. I am concerned about the O-line. And I'm not saying the guys that we have in that room can't do it next year. I am 1,000% rooting for them. Gunnar Katula, Justin Evans-Jenkins, Henry Letowski. Again, we'll see what happens with Prohaska and Turner Corcoran as they come back from injury. Wish them the best. They've both had a couple of injuries, so you never know what you're going to get sometimes. Trust me, I know. I came back from multiple injuries, and one time it was one injury too many. And you never know, but I'm rooting for them. We've got some young guys, some young freshmen, talented guys. Preston Tamua, this guy came in weighing 330 pounds. Well, it says here 6'3.5", 325. Number 1 offensive lineman out of Hawaii, redshirted a year ago. He's going to be fighting for play time. You got Grant Bricks, who was one of the most heralded players we brought in, offensive lineman, dude's a freaking monster. All right, he's going to be fighting for play time. Maybe one of these guys can step up. You bring in Elijah Pritchett. Talent is through the roof. Talked about that. One of the top 5, when you look at just pure talent, one of the top 5 most purely talented guys on the entire roster. Has not yet found his groove, has not yet found consistency. Can he find it here? And I bring this up because we had some guys that were kind of on our radars, potential linemen to come in, and we seem to just be having a hard time getting these guys to commit and come in. New Mexico State tackle Shaiz picks Kentucky over Michigan and Nebraska. So we did not get the New Mexico State all-conference tackle. And I'd actually talked about this individual on Friday, Troy transfer offensive lineman Daniel King. I thought he'd be a good addition. I talked about two potential offensive linemen. I thought he was the better of the two. This is a guy who's played 2,642 snaps, multi-time all-conference in the Sun Belt selection. I think he would have been a good addition. All right. He has chosen North Carolina, not for basketball, talking football. All right. And so there was another offensive lineman that I saw here. Let's see. Montana State offensive tackle. I didn't even talk about him. I don't even know if we were talking to him, but we just start looking at who's a good option that's available, period. Who could we potentially go after? Montana State offensive tackle Connor Moore has officially signed with Michigan State. He was a two-time FCS All-American. So my concern, because it's not all just a valley full of daisies, hugs and kisses, fresh pancakes in the morning. Like, you got to keep it real. You got to keep it honest. You got to look at the full picture, not just the corner of the part of the picture that you like. And for me, I have serious concerns about the offensive line going into next year. Now, I'd be shocked if we don't bring in more portal additions throughout the spring and the summer. It's not panic mode. And I wouldn't hate if we brought in another defensive lineman or two on that side of the ball as well. You got Elijah Judy, Riley Van Poppel, Cam Lenhart, the other guys we've already brought in. You've got some guys there. Outside of Cam, nobody really proven, though. Like, Cam's at least started games in the past. Not many of those other guys have, if any of them. So the trenches, I'm kind of like, and today's offensive focused. So I'll keep it there. But the trenches is like, offense puts butts in the seats, defense wins games. The trenches is where you win championships. And on the offensive side of the ball, we haven't had a good offensive line, not consistently for years. Right? And I know what Dana Holgerson said at the podium. Yes, the offensive line played well versus USC. Our backs just aren't hitting holes. Okay, that's fine. He's the offensive coordinator. He's going to err towards being positive, although he is very honest, and I love that. I watched us play against Wisconsin, and I watched us dominate as an offensive line. And I didn't see that the rest of the year. And I'm not saying it was bad the rest of the year. It was very up and down, very inconsistent. I want more consistency. We don't have to be great. I'd love that. Let's be freaking consistent. What I'm saying is we have not shown that in a long time. Donovan Raiola is going into year 4 as the offensive line coach. He has not yet produced a consistent offensive line. Again, I'm rooting for him to do that this year. We brought in Pritchett. The talent is through the roof. Can he find consistency? That's all we ask of him. Latufsky's going to be back. He's injured, out for the spring, but should be back for the fall. I've liked Justin Evans-Jenkins since he started as a freshman. He can play center. He can play guard. You love Gunnar Gutulic, probably one of our 5 best offensive linemen. Do they keep him at tackle? Do we bring in another tackle eventually? Does he go to guard? What happens there? What happens with Grant? What happens with Preston, the Hawaiian offensive lineman? Like, how does this all unfold? When I look at our skill guys, quarterback with experience, trust Emmett Johnson, love our wide receivers. We got like 3 tight ends that could potentially play. Now, nobody's done it consistently as a tight end yet. Lindenmeyer's been the best, but Harburg just moved there. Carter Nelson was kind of all over the place a little bit last year because he's got the ability to do that, but wasn't just a pure tight end very often, even when he did play, which wasn't a ton. But I still feel fine about our tight end room. I do, especially in a Holgerson offense where he's going to move guys all over like chess pieces. It's the offensive line that I'm like, we needed help. We need to get better. We need to be consistent. And we're not seemingly able to consistently bring in consistent offensive linemen that are proven just yet. So it's not panic mode because we've got more time. You would like to have these guys here now. Classes are starting this week at the university. You'd like to have them here throughout the spring for obvious reasons. Get those reps in. Get a winter conditioning in with your program, with your strength coach. Start learning your culture. It's not mandatory, just would be nice. So to me, that is a concern that I have. Again, no panic button, but a legit concern. What are your thoughts there, Jake?
Yeah, tight end. I think, especially with Mac Markway there, I think you feel like there's.
Forgot about him. Yep.
Yeah, there's some guys in there that can contribute certainly for Nebraska. Thomas Fidone definitely had some upside, and as a pass catcher was something Nebraska's going to have to replace. It's nice to see potential here in these other spots, but Fidone had a 91-yard game against Indiana. He had several 50-yard games this year, so it's a little bit of a concern, but not my biggest concern on offense.
No, we've got 4 legit guys who can step up and play there. Like Lindenmeyer was playing over Fidone at the end. That's no slam on Fidone. That's just facts. I mean, so to me, I actually feel like we could be better next year at the tight end position because the guy who was playing over Fidone at the end of the year, nothing but love. He's down in Florida training for the NFL. He's been there for a couple of weeks. Wish him nothing but the best. Okay. But I got to speak true. Lindenmeyer was playing over him and he's back. So if Lindenmeyer starts, I got to assume he was probably ahead of Fidone for a reason. And then we've got these other guys. All right. And whether this guy's coming off injury, whether it's Carter Nelson, a year bigger, stronger, whether it's Heinrich Harburg moving in, I still think he's going to be, he'll have his hand in the dirt, but I still think he's going to be a guy that's kind of moved like a chess piece. All right. Carter Nelson, too, is another guy I see that happening with as well. So I'm not uber concerned about tight end. I'd love to see another running back, but I'm kind of trusting the coaches there for reasons I laid out on Friday. It's the offensive line. Like, we're trying to get offensive linemen. We are just unable to get them, which tells me the coaches see what everybody else sees, which is we need help up here, and we have not yet been able to get it outside of Elijah Pritchett, who, again, upside insane, consistency, not so much just yet. All right. I will say this. I saw this Brian Munson on X. All right, talking about, he said, playing positions may still be in the air when with Nebraska signee Sean Hammerbeck. Okay, Hammerbeck could play offensive tackle. I wouldn't count on him next year, by the way, if he goes to tackle, but may also fit at tight end or DL in Lincoln. All right, so we'll see where he ends up playing. Nebraska, and again, this is Brian Munson on X. Shout out to Brian. Nebraska dipped into Hawaii again with the 2025 class and landed interior offensive lineman Houston Kwane Torres. The 3-star recruit will be following another St. Louis high school offensive lineman to Lincoln, get to know Houston, and he had an article on Houston on his X if you want to go check it out. So, again, that's great. What about this year? I'm not going to count on either one of those guys for this year. And we don't even know if what Hammerbeck's going to play. So, for me, we got a long offseason, no panic button, but there is legit concern, in my humble opinion. All right, so we're going to rifle through a few things here before I get my preview and prediction for the national title game. Then we'll react to the NFL playoff games, the second and third segment as well. I almost forgot. How dare I? Ladies and gentlemen, it's our daily prize giveaway. $100 gift certificate to Automotive Solutions. All right, 2040 Southwest 5th Street in Lincoln. What do you have to do? It's very, very difficult. Call in. We'll answer the phone. You've won your prize. Now you get to have fun. You can pick up your prize here at the Ticket Studios at 11th and O, but we will patch you on through. We'll bring you on air. And I actually have a prepared trivia question today. I don't know if Jake will know this. So if the listener doesn't get it right, you still get your prize. But I'm going to defer to Jake and see if Jake knows this. So, all right. What's that number, Jake?
Call 402-464-5685.
It never changes, but I like hearing him say it. Ladies and gentlemen, call in, get your prize. We'll patch you through on air. And I've actually got a prepared trivia question for you today. We'll have a little bit of fun. All right. Terry Braden, defensive line coach for Nebraska, still with the Chiefs. 9 tackles for loss that defense produced. And I'm going to talk more about this in a little bit. 9 tackles for loss, 8 sacks. I'm excited to see what he can do when he's here full-time with the Huskers as the defensive line coach. John Butler even talked about this on X, talked about the 8 sacks. All right. Oh, I mean, we've got like 9,000 cornerbacks right now. But Arizona cornerback, if you didn't see this, Marquise Groves Killebrew is going to stay at Arizona. That's all right. So I guess it takes us down to 15 portal kids, but Deshaun Singleton's going to be back. How much of an impact do you think Deshaun can have, Jake?
Oh, I think it's a big deal. And when healthy, he's a very good safety. Now, he's had a little bit of problem here and there staying healthy, but that's a big deal, especially in that secondary. You start to kind of wonder who's going to take the spots and maybe can kind of help, guys like Hartzog, and some of those other guys, Buford, find their position. They need to, those two specifically, find out what they're going to do with them going into it. And Singleton, I think, gives you a starter bag basically at safety.
I would agree with that. It was interesting. I had a couple people hit me up like, he wasn't that good. Why? I don't really care that he's back. He's not going to help us. At this point, if you're back, the coaches wanted you back. Otherwise, you're gone. We got to get to that 105. They're not bringing guys back they don't want. So I'm with Jake. That's a potential starter back right there, and the coaches want him back for a reason. So we're going to do a little bit of a Husker Sports roundup real quick. Then I'll give my preview and prediction. Jake will as well for the national championship game. In fact, on the text line, let me know, who do you got winning the game tonight? And not just the team. I want to know why. Notre Dame or Ohio State? Who do you got winning and why, ladies? And it doesn't have to be a lengthy answer. All right. Just let me know why. All right. Husker Sports Roundup. Nebraska women's basketball has won 3 games in a row within conference. Britt Prince has kind of gone off. 22 points, 7 rebounds, 5 assists, 6 steals. Okay. When Nebraska, I put on X. I knew some people would get it and some people wouldn't. I even tried to put hashtag unbiased reporting, LOL. Some people still didn't get it. When they curb stomped Iowa in overtime, 87-84 last week. She had scored a career high 24 against Rutgers the week before that. All right. Let's see what's next here on the Husker Sports Roundup. How do you think Adrian Martinez is going to do with the Jets? He's getting a shot with the Jets. How do you think he's going to do there, Jake?
I think odds are against him again, as it is in the position that he's in. He's trying to break into the league, but I would assume they're going to go a different route at quarterback this year. So at least an opportunity there to try to get in there. And I think I think he'll play into the NFL preseason if he can. And he did pretty well there last time he was there, but if he could do a little bit better, maybe make an active roster. But again, like I said, I don't want to bear bad news. Odds are against him, but he's got a chance.
Was he the MVP of the UFL League?
Yes, he was.
I'd say he's got a pretty good chance to at least make a roster. And with all due respect to Aaron Rodgers, I think the Jets have to move on. All right, a little bit of a Husker Sports Roundup here. Husker baseball is ranked. Already talked about that last week. It was interesting. I saw this. An old team with a very high floor. I guess that's a compliment, I think. All right. This was what was interesting. Brings back 7 position players who started 43 or more games last season. All right. Pretty much all the guys we have back played a significant piece last year. This is a quote from Will Bolt. We just need them to continue to develop in our program. So I put out a post on social media, like I'm excited for spring sports. Geordie ball, Husker softball, Nebraska baseball, expected to be one of the best teams in the country, fight probably with Oregon or the 2 favorites for the Big Ten championship again. All right, a little bit of volleyball here. Now, this is Supernovas, but today marks the 2nd largest attendance in U.S. pro volleyball history. All right, in Omaha, 12,723. Do you have the bowling team's information ready there, Jake?
Yeah, so they are the only team in history that has qualified for every NCAA bowling championship. Now that started in 2004. Before that, it was the WIBC, where Nebraska won titles in 91, 95, 97, 99, and 2001. Since the NCAA has taken over, they've won titles in 2004, 2005, 2009, 2013, 2015, and 2021, and come up runner-up 4 other times.
So how many total national titles is that?
Let's see. 6 NCAA titles and 5 WIBC, so 11.
Holy cow. That's crazy. All right. This is via Nebraska Bowling on X. Shout out to them. Victory formation. Huskers capped off a perfect 13-0 weekend with a win over number 4 Youngstown State. I was not aware that Youngstown State was so good at bowling, but apparently they are in the championship match. All right. The world champion, Jillian Martin, on making the Northeast Classic all-tournament team for Nebraska and being named MVP. Now, Jillian finished 4th overall individually with a total pinfall of 1,140. I don't have this total in my life amount of pinfalls, 1,144, and a 228.8 average. What's your average when you go bowling, Jake?
I don't know, about a 120 or so.
Oh, you'd kill me. I'm a solid 80.
Oh, you're rough.
Well, thank you. The problem is, I think the last time I went bowling was like 9 years ago. I think all my kids were little and we had all the bumpers out. It was an excuse for me to use the bumpers too, but I think they were all out for the kids. Jake, you see the air
Tell me you didn't
there.
get an 80 with bumpers.
Well, no, not with bumpers. I mean, goodness gracious. I could snap the ball between my legs backwards better than that. All right. Let's see here. Put some final thoughts on the Husker Sports Roundup. And then what we'll do when we come back, we'll do the preview prediction for national championship game and NFL playoff game reactions. What do we got on the text line? Who are people taking? Notre Dame, Ohio State, and why?
Steven says Ohio State studs at wide receiver and tight end. Running back room will be the difference. A couple of just thoughts of they didn't add their reason. A couple more Ohio States and a Notre Dame.
A Notre Dame?
Yeah.
All right. We'll see what happens.
They're definitely the underdog going into this one.
Notre Dame missing 2 of their offensive linemen. At least one. The guard is questionable. The tackle is out. I'm just going to read this. Notre Dame is expected to start redshirt freshman Charles Gangwish at left tackle in the national title game per Marcus Freeman. It'll be his first start of the season and 2nd overall start. Freeman said Gangwish has been playing primarily left tackle in practice. That's not what you want to be hearing if you're a Notre Dame fan going into the national title game versus that Ohio State defense. That is, I was feeling like Notre Dame could keep it close. I'm going to take Ohio State, but Notre Dame with the spread, it's just not good news. I don't know what the updated spread is. You'll have to look it up for me, Jake. But all right, a couple other final thoughts. Nebraska has already done a bunch of future recruiting, as you would imagine. All right. Have already hosted some of the top recruits in the class of 2026. All right. Number 1 player, Jackson Cantwell, outside linebacker. Number 8 player, athlete, Brandon Arrington. Then 53, 79, 80, 84, 89, 103, 110, 112, 115, 122, 115. I'm not going to read all their names and everything until they commit here, if they do. But they are heavily recruiting high school players already ahead in the future. Rule and the staff got to jump on some of the nation's best early players for future high school classes. Ultimately need to stack wins on the field to continue legitimately pursuing many of them. Players want money, NIL, they also want to win. A little bit of a double thing there. Now, let's see if I got any other final thoughts before we head to break here. Ooh, I got 2. Then we'll head to break. Well, can I talk about Creighton? It's my show. I'll do what I want. All right, Creighton has played UConn 10 times, beat them 8 times, just snapped a 28 home game winning streak. They've beaten UConn 2 years in a row now. Creighton hands UConn its first home loss in 724 days. Creighton snaps number 14 UConn's 28 home game winning streak this past week. So am I allowed to talk about Creighton, or that just label me a J-sker there, Jake?
I think just a little. I think you get maybe a half a minute. If you do any more, I think you might get the J-score territory.
I think that took about 20 seconds. We're gonna say I'm good. This was a great quote from Urban Meyer. It's kind of leading into the college football national championship tonight. Urban Meyer, 2006. This was said in 2006, and I quote, "If you don't win your conference, you shouldn't be playing for a national championship." End quote. Just gonna let that sit out there in the universe. And Stuart Mandel had a great post on social media. 3 straight lopsided wild card wins. Nice job, committee. Should have taken the Bengals. And then he screenshotted Bills 31-7 over the Broncos. Ravens by 2 touchdowns over the Steelers. Texans beat the Chargers by 20 points. That NFL playoff committee just not doing their job. All right, don't go anywhere, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be right back.
If you're sick of catering from the same places every month, it's time to switch things up. Mulberry Barbecue is perfect for business lunches and dinners, family gatherings, holiday parties, wedding receptions, rehearsal dinners, and so much more. Delivery and full service options are available, and they can cater for anything from 10 people to 500 people. Call them at 402-937-7114 to hear their menu options and get your catering booked today. Mulberry Barbecue, located at 11th and Cornhusker Highway.
Raising little ones is a big job, and you do your best to give them a good start every day. That means making sure they're well cared for while you're apart. You work hard, but it's not always easy to make ends meet. There may be help. Find out if you qualify for Nebraska's child care tax credit for working parents. You could be eligible for a credit of up to $2,000 per child on your next tax return. Learn more at nebraskachildcaretaxcredit.org. Brought to you by First 5 Nebraska and Nebraska Children and Families Foundation, and aired by the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
McKinney's Irish Pub in the Haymarket is your place for English Premier League soccer. On Saturday, Newcastle takes on Bournemouth at 6:30 a.m., followed by Brentford versus Liverpool at 9 a.m. To cap off the Saturday action, Arsenal takes on Aston Villa at 11:30 a.m. On Sunday, Everton faces Tottenham at 8 a.m., followed by Ipswich Town versus Man City at 10:30 a.m. You can catch all these games and more at McKinney's Irish Pub, your headquarters for English Premier League soccer at 8th and P.
Hey there, fellas. It's your girl Jordan with Sartor Heyman Jewelry. Allow me to get a bit sappy. For women, jewelry isn't just a gift. It's a timeless symbol of love and appreciation. You have to get this right. No fleeting trends or gadgets will make the impact. Every time she wears it, every time she gets a compliment, you win. Trust me, guys. You'll get your money worth. Until next time, this is Jordan at Sartor Heyman Jewelry. Happy shopping, guys.
Husker fans, this season, Nebraska is celebrating 50 years of Husker women's basketball, and they need you to help celebrate. You've shown up for women's hoops from the start and continue to prove that Nebraska fans really are the best in the nation. On Sunday, January 26th, the Huskers face Big Ten opponent Ohio State, and they're calling on all Husker fans to help pack PVA so they can celebrate 50 years of Husker women's hoops together. Get your tickets now and be a part of this historic season. For event and ticket information, go to huskers.com/tickets. The electrical workers of Local Union 265 are now hiring licensed journeyman electricians from $32.50 to $42.50 per hour with paid benefits. And if you're looking for a new career, they're hiring apprentices at $19.50 per hour with paid benefits. Call the office at 402-423-4497 to apply. Start your electrical career today.
Right now, when you drive by Honda of Lincoln, you'll see more than 200 new Hondas and over 125 pre-owned vehicles. Hi, Charlie Stone here, and with me on the line is Andy Goodyear of Honda of Lincoln. Andy, how does it feel to have so many vehicles in stock again for your customers?
Charlie, it feels amazing to see how excited our customers are. They love the ability to see, test drive, and take immediate delivery of the exact new Honda they're looking for.
Do you have some good offers to talk about?
We sure do, Charlie. We're offering financing as low as 0.9% APR up to 72 months, or great lease rates on every new Honda. It's the perfect time to drive away in the new Honda you've been dreaming of.
How about pre-owned, Andy?
We have over 125 pre-owned and certified pre-owned vehicles to choose from. Just about every make and model with prices starting at under $10,000.
Maybe it's time you experience the best, the Honda of Lincoln way of doing business. 27th and Yankee Hill Road, or online at hondaoflincoln.com.
What's better than supporting your favorite radio station and eating delicious Nebraska-made products? Smoking Gun Jerky of Nebraska wants to highlight you, the listener, on the 93.7 The Ticket Wall of Fame at the store. Stop by the store at 48th and R in Lincoln and see their huge variety of small batch gourmet jerky. Or if you're not in the area and want to try some, go to smokinggunjerky.com and enter code EARLY for 10% off your purchase. It's the ultimate low-calorie, high-protein snack at Smoking Gun Jerky of Nebraska.
Wrestling fans, it's time to elevate your game, just like Stevens & Smith Construction does for your concrete needs. As your full-service concrete contractor, we deliver solid results every time. From singles to doubles, fighting for inside position to scrambling reversals, we know how to pin down quality and slam expectations. Stevens & Smith Construction, a proud sponsor of Takedown Tuesdays on 93.7 The Ticket, where Husker wrestlers bring you all the action. Don't stall. Stevens & Smith Construction is here to help you build a concrete foundation for the win. Check us out at www.stevensandsmith.com, because stalling is a penalty and winning is the only option.
Hello, I am Ayanna Blake. Welcome to Mind Your Mind. In this new chapter of our lives, let us focus on the things we can control. This week, I was passing by the television and overheard Mel Robbins talking about her newly released book titled The Let Them Theory. She said, the message with the Let Them Theory is that no matter what's going on outside of you, the power is always inside of you. She went on to say, the two words, let them, are the key to helping you see what's in your control and what's not in your control. Let's take a brief second to acknowledge what we can control. We can't control others. We can't control their actions, beliefs, responses, or lack of. I encourage you to center yourself on things you can control and watch the gift of peace overtake you. I am Ayanna Blake, reminding you to mind your mind. For more inspiration, connect with me on social media or visit AyannaBlake.com. Until next time, take care of your mind and keep moving forward on your pathway to wellness. And remember, let them.
This is the Adam Carriker Show on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Adam Carriker Show here on 93.7 The Ticket. Segment 2 of the Adam Carriker Show is sponsored by our good friends at Mulberry Barbecue. They actually just opened up a new location. Another barbecue place went out of business, which I actually really like them. But Mulberry's is putting up a new one because they're really freaking good, ladies and gentlemen. All right. Let's see here. Open Monday through Saturday from 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. Try their burnt-end sandwich, a brisket burrito, barbecue nachos, a full slab of delicious ribs, a half-smoked chicken, and much, much more, plus incredible sides. Get fueled for lunch today or make dinner plans at Mulberry Barbecue by Single Barrel, located at 11th and Cornhusker. Week 2 of my workouts, Jake. I did not about kill myself today like I did last week. I'm walking up and down the stairs like I'm 80 years old and my children and wife are making fun of me. Now I'm only walking up and down the stairs like I'm 60, getting a little bit of that lactic acid out of there. I was a little bit smarter today. Last week I tried to power through and then the room started spinning and I laid down. I was like, yep, the spinning room is going to win. Today I was much, much smarter, but hopefully a little bit less fat than I was a week ago as well. All right, ladies and gentlemen, call in. Win our $100 gift certificate to Automotive Solutions. We'll bring you on air. Got a unique trivia question for you today. What's that number, Jake?
402-464-5685.
All right, what are some of those other responders on the national championship game? Everyone just taking Ohio State?
Augie says, hate them both, but pulling for Notre Dame, think they will at least cover. Dave Braska says, Notre Dame sucks, go Buckeyes. And 1261 just says, you're a Jasker.
Oh, what's his name?
It's just, he doesn't have a name on here. Just 1261.
Wouldn't put his name behind it. One of those keyboard warriors. Huh? All right, ladies and gentlemen, before we dive into this, I thought this was good. Just remember, you cannot see your reflection in boiling water. Similarly, you cannot see the truth in a state of anger. When the water calms, clarity comes. I thought that was really good. All right, and I talked about this a while back, but I got a little bit of clarity on this from someone who knows the situation. So Riley Leonard's mom has texted him, and I quote, "You suck," before every game since high school. We talked about this.
Yeah.
So the reason she does that, more clarity on it, wasn't just to lighten the situation, to bring a smile to his face. He was starting to get pumped up a lot. Like, people around him were starting to tell him how good he was. I've said ever since I was a young pup in Nebraska, I was like, I don't want to pay. Like, if I'm inside that football building, I advise guys, don't pay attention to what's being said outside this building. Everything you need to know is being told to you by the people inside this building. Your coaches, your teammates, if you're hurt, your trainers, whatever the case may be. The film don't lie. Pay attention to that. Because if you're playing really, really well and you start to hear all these glorious things about you, you might buy into that, and entitlement and laziness, whether you intended to or not, might creep in. And if you're getting buried by people on the outside, well, there's obvious reasons you don't need to be hearing that all the time as well. So basically, his mom started to text him, "You suck," before every game since high school, because people were pumping him up. And it was his way, he asked his mom to do it, of being brought back down to earth. And I kind of like that. All right. So, Jake, don't suck, okay? Sound good?
I was saying, he throws 2 picks, and he's going to hear that a lot from the fans, too. So,
oh, man. All right, let's dive into this. So, Notre Dame has lost their last 10 New Year's 6 and/or college football playoff games. Last 10. Now, on the converse side, before this year, on the converse side of that, they're the first college football program in history to ever win 2 New Year's 6 bowl games and 2 bowl games in the same season, simply because the college football playoff, now they played in the Sugar Bowl and then they played in the Orange Bowl. That's just the way it's built. But they're the first team to ever win 2 bowl games in one season after losing 10 straight major or college football playoff games in a row. I thought that was interesting. And again, to me, this is going to be won or lost in the trenches with Notre Dame. There's a couple of things. So Ohio State, and I'm gonna dive into the Chiefs here in a minute, and if they're really in cahoots with the refs, ladies and gentlemen. I've got stats that go both ways, to be honest with you. It depends on what narrative you like. Do you want to hate the Chiefs? They're in cahoots with the refs. I saw like this AI thing of Mahomes making out with the ref, and I was like, oh, we're going too far with this AI thing. Come on, guys. And then it's like, oh, the Chiefs are just really good. They just find and make the plays at the right time. They've won 11 straight one-score games. They've got the best player in the world, and Patrick Mahomes at the most key position. It's whatever you want to see. I'll get into that in the next segment. But when it comes to Ohio State and Notre Dame, it's interesting because Ohio State, I mentioned this last week, but I'll say it a little slower. I tend to go, as you know, Jake, talk really fast. And so they're, out of 134 teams in the country, they are 134th in penalties called against their opponents. Their opponents, the teams that they play, have the least amount of penalties called against them out of everybody in the country. Notre Dame has got to absolutely 1,000%. Here's the path for the upset. And you told me Notre Dame or Ohio State's an 8-point favorite. It's actually gone down. But before I knew Notre Dame's O-line was so banged up, and their best defensive player, who was a D lineman, is also out. He got hurt against Georgia. He was out against Penn State. Before I knew that was 100% confirmed, all of that, I would have taken Ohio State to win, Notre Dame to cover. And now with the point spread going down, I'm rooting for Notre Dame, which is weird to say just because I want to root for the underdog. I actually deep down want Ohio State to win because I want the Big Ten to look really good. Plus, Notre Dame, I'm sick of them having their cake and eat it too, but it's a topic for another day. They have truly cheated the 12-team system, and they get to keep all this money. Like, it's crazy. They don't have to share their millions that they make for the college football playoff, for the big bowl games, for the national championship game with anybody. But again, it makes me want to root for both teams. Inherently, I always want to root for the underdog, but I want the Big Ten to look good. I'm going to take Ohio State to win, and I'm now going to take them to cover as well. But the path to Notre Dame winning this game, the path is they have to 1,000% win the penalty battle. They are better on special teams. They have to win the special teams and field position battle. And here's the other thing. Notre Dame is number 1 in the country in turnovers forced and points off turnovers. They have to win the turnover battle. Now, I think Notre Dame, if they had all their horses, I'd feel a lot better about this. I do think I would take them to cover. But I watched Notre Dame in that first half against Penn State, and I watched Penn State dominate the trenches. Now, I also watched the Irish come back and win when they were down, and it didn't look good for quite a while. So who knows what could happen? This is college football. And I've said it before. That ball gets kicked off the tee, it bounces funny, and all hell breaks loose. And that's what I love about college football, especially with the younger kids playing, the younger generation. It's a little bit more unpredictable than the NFL, so to speak. They've got to 100% win the penalty battle, which Ohio State's terrible at winning. They've got to win the turnover battle, which Notre Dame is number 1 in the country. And they've got to win the field position battle. If they do those 3 things, I mean, they might win the game. They very well might. They got to at least win 2 of those 3 things. Or they got to win all 3. Here's the other thing that Notre Dame's really good at. And it's going to come down to a couple of things. But here's the other thing they're really good at. Ohio State's defense does not give up rushing yards. Okay, they've given up an average of 62 rushing yards throughout the college football playoff a game. 62 rushing yards a game. They have 16 sacks in the college football playoff games, where they had 0 versus Oregon and Michigan combined in their 2 losses in the regular season. So they've figured some things out up front. When Ohio State played Texas ran the ball 29 times for 58 yards. I'm not a great person at math, but I think that's 2 yards per carry right on the dot. Notre Dame can't do that. Riley Leonard is a good runner. He's a good quarterback. He's not going to beat you with the ball through the air. If Notre Dame could get some big plays, get some, like when they came back against Penn State, they're able to make some big plays. They had a 36-yard pass. They had another 32-yard pass, and they had a 54-yard touchdown pass. That is their most explosive, most amount of explosive pass plays they've had in one game all year, barring one game early in the season where they played an out-of-conference non-Power 4 team. So they need some big plays. They need to win the turnover and the penalty battle. And if they win the field position battle, they don't have to win all this, but they got to win 2 out of 3, 3 out of 4, especially where they're banged up in key spots on the offensive line. Their left tackle's out. I still don't know about the guard. I think he's questionable. It might be a game-time decision. And their best defensive player, who's a defensive lineman, is out. So they're going to need some help. Otherwise, they wouldn't need all this to go their way. And I'm not saying Ohio State's some unbeatable team. I watched them lose to Oregon. I watched them play horrifically horrible against Michigan. And I've watched them look like the best team in the entire country throughout the playoffs. I assume the team that showed up in the playoffs is the team that's going to show up tonight. But they've also showed us that they're young kids, and you never know what can happen. The other thing, I think Notre Dame has to keep Ohio State 21 points or less. You think back to that Texas game, Texas held them to 21 offensive points. Ohio State's last touchdown was the sack, strip, fumble recovery taken back to the house, 80-plus yards by Jack Sawyer, the defensive end for Ohio State. If Notre Dame can hold them under 21 points, this could be very, very interesting. Here's the one thing I love about Notre Dame a lot. So this middle age stat, the last 4 minutes of the first half and the first 8 minutes of the second half, they are number 1 in the country. The little things is where they win. Okay? They play complementary football. They don't beat themselves. They take advantage of your mistakes. And they do these little things. When you think about what they've done in that middle 8, last 4 minutes of first half, first 4 minutes of the second half, they're number 1 in the country in point differential in that middle 8. If you think back to their 2 playoff games, they had scored their last 2 opponents versus Georgia and Penn State. They've outscored them in the middle 8, 27-0 of those 2 playoff games. Think back to Georgia. Think back to Penn State. Notre Dame scored right before half. Outside of half, they took the kickoff return back to the house for a touchdown versus Georgia, which put them up by 17, essentially putting the game away the way Georgia's offense was struggling. You got to remember, Notre Dame was down 10-0. Then all of a sudden, versus Penn State, then all of a sudden, they come out and tie the game. And then they're up 17-10. That all happened in the middle eight versus Penn State. They've outscored Georgia and Penn State 27-0 in the middle eight. I'm telling you, there's a path for them to win this game. Their path is much narrower than Ohio State's there. Their room for margin for error is much smaller than Ohio State's. Who you got, Jay? I'm taking Ohio State. I'm taking them to cover, mostly because the Notre Dame's banged up in the trenches. I want to root for Ohio State, but I'm not going to lie. Part of me just wants to root for the underdog. I'm going to force myself to root for the Big Ten team. But who do you got, and who are you rooting for, Jake?
Yeah, it's interesting. This is one of those games where I'm going to let the game decide who I'm rooting for, which I can do.
What does that mean? You're just going to root for the team that's winning? What does that mean?
I don't necessarily. I mean, it's just tough. I mean, these are two blue blood programs. I grew up arguing whether Nebraska was better than these other programs when I was a keyboard warrior when I was a kid. So it's tough to say now. And keep this in mind: among the blue bloods, 8 blue bloods that are largely considered. If Notre Dame wins, then Nebraska will have the longest title streak among length of time before they've gotten a title since 1997. Of course, Notre Dame's goes back to 1988. Those other 6 blue blood programs have won more recently. But so it's just one of those games. It's like watching Texas Oklahoma. I can try to choose which team to root for, but I can't actively do it. Like I'll watch and something will happen, like a big play will be made, and I can't cheer. It's embroiled into me just not to cheer for Texas or Oklahoma. It's not that bad with Notre Dame and Ohio State here, but I do like the Big Ten, so I'll probably end up rooting for Ohio State. But like you said, the underdog story of this, Jeremiah Love probably going to have a knee brace on as well.
I forgot.
So they're really banged up. But the key could be kid from Omaha, Xavier Watts. Notre Dame's going to have to win the turnover battle. Like you said, these are the number 1 and number 2 defenses in the country, but they do it a little bit different. Turnovers have been big for Notre Dame, and he could come up big for them if they're going to win. I think he needs to get a pick at least.
That's a great point. Xavier Watts was the Sugar Bowl defensive MVP, kid out of Omaha. That's a great point. So I've actually got the stat here. I'm sure you've seen it. National title droughts of the blue blood programs. So the 8. Okay, and we'll have a debate this offseason, probably at some point, about who the blue blood programs are, because there's some debate out there. But the ones that's listed on this that I have in front of me: Notre Dame, Nebraska, Oklahoma, USC, Texas, Ohio State, Alabama, Michigan. Hard to argue with any of those. I'm sure there's people out there that want to take us off that list at this point. Again, topic for another day. Okay, length of time since their last national title: Michigan, 1 year; Alabama, 4 years; Ohio State, 10 years; Texas, gag me you, 19 years. By the way, it's Oklahoma over gag me you all day long. Texas, 19 years, USC, 20 years, Oklahoma, 24 years, Nebraska, 27, Notre Dame, to your point, 36 years. It's funny, 36 years ago, we actually just had this conversation in the car with my kids because I don't tell them who to root for. The only rule, you can root for whoever you want. I'm sorry. No. What I say is you don't have to root for Nebraska. You can root for whoever you want, but I've given them exceptions. I said the exceptions are gag me you, and they know that means Texas, Iowa, Alabama. And that one's not so strong anymore. That's more my dad couldn't stand Alabama growing up, I think. I think it was a lot of what we hear now. The SEC is better and Alabama's king. And I think there was, Bear Bryant was a monster back then. And just the Yankees, they buy championships, although that's the Dodgers now. That's a topic. Again, a lot of off-season topics here. But I've said, no gag BU, no Iowa. I'm a little bit, I said there's tiers. Like, that's tier 1. There's no debate. We can chat about Alabama and the Yankees if you want to. But we actually just had this conversation in the car yesterday coming home from church. All right. Did you say who you're taking? Who your prediction is?
I believe Ohio State will win, but I said I was going to cheer for Ohio State. This is what I mean. I've got this problem. I think now you might convince me. I might cheer for Notre Dame. I like Marcus Freeman better than Ryan Day. So.
Oh man, to be clear, because I've been I don't know if I've been clear. So let me clear it up. I'm taking Ohio State. I'm taking them with the points because Notre Dame's banged up. I even forgot about Jeremiah Love, the running back with the knee brace on. I want to root for Ohio State. I'm going to force myself to root for Ohio State because of the Big Ten tie, 2 years in a row, Big Ten national champion. And I can't stand that Notre Dame gets to have their cake and eat it too and keep all this money. They don't have to be in a conference. I can't stand that. I just love an underdog story. I know what's going to happen. As the game's going along, subconsciously, I'm going to start rooting for the freaking team that I'm going to whine about all offseason not being in a conference, even though I want to force myself to root for Ohio State. All right, don't go anywhere, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be right back.
McKinney's Irish Pub in the Haymarket is your place for English Premier League soccer. On Saturday, Newcastle takes on Bournemouth at 6:30 a.m., followed by Brentford versus Liverpool at 9 a.m. To cap off the Saturday action, Arsenal takes on Aston Villa at 11:30 a.m. On Sunday, Everton faces Tottenham at 8 a.m., followed by Ipswich Town versus Man City at 10:30 a.m. You can catch all these games and more at McKinney's Irish Pub, your headquarters for English Premier League soccer at 8th and P.
Salt Mine City is now open at 8th and R in the Haymarket. Come check out Lincoln's newest brewery with 12 beers on tap, including the popular Single Axle Light American Lager, Brick Street Amber Wheat, and so many more. There's daily drink specials like $1 off Moscow Mules on Tuesdays, $6 IPAs on Fridays, and $6 Bloody Marys on Saturdays. Stop by Tuesday through Thursday from 4 to 9 p.m., Fridays 4 to 11 p.m., Saturdays 11 a.m. to 11 p.m., and Sundays from noon to 8 p.m. It's Salt Mine City, Lincoln's newest brewery at 8th and R.
Husker fans, this season, Nebraska is celebrating 50 years of Husker women's basketball, and they need you to help celebrate. You've shown up for women's hoops from the start and continue to prove that Nebraska fans really are the best in the nation. On Sunday, January 26th, the Huskers face Big Ten opponent Ohio State, and they're calling on all Husker fans to help pack PBA so they can celebrate 50 years of Husker women's hoops together. Get your tickets now and be a part of this historic season. For event and ticket information, go to huskers.com/tickets.
Right now, when you drive by Honda of Lincoln, you'll see more than 200 new Hondas and over 125 pre-owned vehicles. Hi, Charlie Stone here, and with me on the line is Andy Goodyear of Honda of Lincoln. Andy, how does it feel to have so many vehicles in stock again for your customers?
Charlie, it feels amazing to see how excited our customers are. They love the ability to see, test drive, and take immediate delivery of the exact new Honda they're looking for.
Do you have some good offers to talk about?
We sure do, Charlie. We're offering financing as low as 0.9% APR up to 72 months, or great lease rates on every new Honda. It's the perfect time to drive away in the new Honda you've been dreaming of.
How about pre-owned, Andy?
We have over 125 pre-owned and certified pre-owned vehicles to choose from. Just about every make and model with prices starting at under $10,000.
Maybe it's time you experience the best, the Honda of Lincoln way of doing business. 27th and Yankee Hill Road, or online at hondaoflincoln.com.
Prashawn Jackson here for Bauer Underground, who has been serving local contractors and utility contractors all across the state since 1997. When you see the black and white trucks, you know the baddest dudes in the business have arrived. Bauer is currently looking for equipment operators, laborers, diesel mechanics, and aerial linemen. Join the brotherhood built on hard work, authentic people, and pedigree of success. Bauer, a family-friendly company who reminds you, go Big Red!
This is Bill Mitchner, Executive Director of Lincoln Lighthouse. Did you know Lighthouse provides multiple programs for students such as one-on-one tutoring and mentoring, as well as pro-social skill exercises, while providing them a nourishing meal and a safe space during all months of the year, even during school breaks? Learn more or contribute to Lighthouse at lincolnlighthouse.org today.
Advanced Medical Imaging is the largest radiology group in Nebraska, located in Lincoln at 7601 Pioneers Boulevard. At Advanced Medical Imaging, they utilize state-of-the-art technology and blend it together with their compassionate, skilled team to guide you through every step. Whether it's an MRI, CT scan, or X-ray, their precise diagnostics help your doctor deliver the best care plan for you. Choose clarity and comfort in your life by choosing Advanced Medical Imaging, located at 7601 Pioneers Boulevard and online at amimaging.com.
Midwest Bank is proud to be your local community bank right here in Lincoln. This is Travis with Midwest Bank, now with 2 branches conveniently serving Lincoln and 8 other locations across Nebraska. We're here to help you with any of your needs. From opening a checking account to buying a home or financing your business, our staff is here for you. Stop in and you might see Shin Daddy himself. Your community, your bank, Midwest Bank. Learn more at midwest.bank, member FDIC.
Raising little ones is a big job, and you do your best to give them a good start every day. That means making sure they're well cared for while you're apart. You work hard, but it's not always easy to make ends meet. There may be help. Find out if you qualify for Nebraska's Child Care Tax Credit for working parents. You could be eligible for a credit of up to $2,000 per child on your next tax return. Learn more at nebraskachildcaretaxcredit.org. Brought to you by First 5 Nebraska and Nebraska Children and Families Foundation and aired by the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
This is the Adam Carriker Show on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Boom! Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Adam Carriker Show, powered by 93.7 The Ticket here at 93.7 The Ticket. Check out all things The Ticket at theticketfm.com. If you're so inclined, you can check out the Carriker Chronicles, carrikerchronicles.com, also on YouTube. Simply type in Carriker Chronicles. So I'm going to react to two of the NFL playoff games from this past weekend. Today, we're going to do Eagles, Rams, breeze through that quickly, and then we'll get to the main event. Chiefs, Texans, Chiefs/refs versus Texans. I will get to that. All right, I want to know. Ladies and gentlemen, text in. Do you legit think the Chiefs are in cahoots with the refs or the NFL, or the league office? Do you legit believe this? Let me know. What's that number, Jake?
402-464-5685.
So here's a couple of random playoff thoughts, and we'll save the Bills versus Ravens for tomorrow. I do. I feel bad for Mark Andrews. All right. One of the best tight ends in the league. Had a really bad day. That's what his whole offseason is going to revolve around, unfortunately. Okay. And then my former team. I actually want to give more time to that. The Commanders go into Detroit and pull off the biggest upset of the entire postseason. Beat the Lions on their home field. Really beat them soundly, in my humble opinion. I forget how many interceptions Jared Goff had. I thought it was about 92. Could be, slightly overflating that just a little bit. We're talking about that tomorrow. I got a few more things personal wise on that, so I want to give it some more time tomorrow. But here's some general NFL stats. I thought this was amazing. Turnovers committed by the divisional winners. The 4 teams that won the divisional games. How many total turnovers do you think they had, Jake?
Ooh, the teams that won?
Yes.
We go a lower number. Let's go with 4.
How about 0?
Ooh.
How about 0? And when you think about, and I got more tomorrow for the Commanders specifically, but when you look at Jaden Daniels, all right, he has committed 0 turnovers in their 2 playoff games so far as a rookie quarterback. And I love poking fun at Dallas. This isn't about Dak, but he's Dallas's quarterback, so it is what it is. Insane stat, Commanders quarterback Jaden Daniels has the same amount of playoff wins as Cowboys quarterback Dak Prescott. Daniels is playing in his first career season and has been in the league, and Dak has been in the league for 9 years. They both have 2 career playoff wins. And just because I'm not done poking fun at America's team, they were our rival, by the way, when I was in D.C. We literally were playing, in my first preseason game ever, we're playing the Bills, and the fans in the fourth quarter start chanting, "We want Dallas. We want Dallas." We didn't play them for like 6 games. We had a month and a half. All right, a little bit more fun at the Cowboys' expense. The only team in the NFC to not make the NFC Championship game since 1996 is the Dallas Cowboys. All right, and we'll talk about this tomorrow when we talk about the Bills and Ravens, but defensive tackle Jordan Phillips did you see him wearing a coat under his jersey, under his pads? A coat. Never seen anything like it in my life. And the worst part is he was a D lineman. I'm embarrassed. If it had been a receiver or something like that, I'd have been okay with that. Just embarrassing guys in the trenches. Come on now. Okay. Let's see here. Oh, one more final thing before we dive a little bit into these games specifically. The Bears, as per Adam Schefter, Bears have announced they have completed an interview with head coach candidate Eddie George. All these former players becoming head coaches in college now might creep into the NFL. It's a crazy world. All right, the Rams, my first former team that I played for, actually played really, really well. I love watching the team from California play in the snow. I want to see more of them. SEC, Southern Bells come up north and play on the road, Big Ten type weather in the college football playoff games in the future. But they are, most sacks in one postseason. They're the first team in NFL history to have 7+ sacks in 2 consecutive NFL playoff games. They had a combined 16 in their 2 playoff games versus the Vikings and then versus the Eagles. They had 9 versus the Vikings, 6 in the first half of Sam Darnold, and then 7 on Sunday of the Eagles, which puts them tied for 3rd all time for the most in an NFL postseason. And they didn't even play a 3rd or 4th postseason game. All right, Saquon Barkley went off, had 205 rushing yards versus the Rams, the 5th most in a single game in NFL playoff history. and the Eagles end up, I mean, the Rams, it was what, 28-13? A certain person in my house looked at me and said late in the fourth quarter, oh, why are they even trying to score? It's over. 28-22, they end up scoring, they end up getting down. The sack on third down put the game out of reach. They tried, to get it on fourth and long, but couldn't get it. But the Rams, kudos to Stafford, kudos to the Rams on playing an epic game. The Eagles may be the most well-rounded team. We'll see if they're the best team. The most well-rounded team. I am concerned about Jalen Hurts' knee. If he can't be Jalen Hurts on the ground, they are not the same team. We'll see what happens. All right, let's get to the main event. Kansas City and the Texans. Again, we'll talk about the other two playoff games tomorrow. What are people saying? Are the refs in cahoots or not with the Chiefs? What do people think out there?
Todd from Auburn says the Chiefs are a good team, but they just seem to get the calls from the refs to extend drives. And then off of YouTube, Dexter McTurkey, which I don't know if that's his real name, but I like the name.
I do too.
Says it's not the refs, it's the billionaire owners who control it all. The refs are part-time employees making peanuts. They aren't in control. They follow orders.
So basically, he's saying the refs are doing what they're told. So they're not. Basically, there's a script.
He says it's higher up, yes.
Yeah, okay. All right. Has anybody said no?
No.
All right. I'll present a few things and I'll give my thoughts. There's stats both ways. The Texans are the first team in NFL postseason history to outgain their opponent by 100 yards, have 0 turnovers, and lose. Prior to the Texans losing to the Chiefs in said way on Saturday, teams were 49-0 in NFL playoff history prior to the Texans losing to the Chiefs. Oh, I forget the ref's name. I put it out on X. But when he is reffing Chiefs games, they're 7-0. He was the ref on Saturday. All right. Someone sent this to me. I'll keep the name out of it. There is a script in the NFL and a narrative. Things will go the way Goodell wants them to. The Chiefs will win the Super Bowl, but with heavy help from the league. But Mahomes fits the description to equal the league out. I don't know what that means. That's why they say he's the best of all time. Nobody's saying that yet, but he's trying to make an argument for that. All right. I'm trying to see anything else for the Chiefs here. Okay. Here's some of the other side of the coin. The refs missed the PAT, did they? The refs blocked the field goal for the Chiefs? The refs sacked Stroud 8 times, did they? Just so we're clear, the refs did all of that. Okay, all right. When you think about touchdowns nullified by penalties this year, number 1 in the league, the Bills had 16 touchdowns called back during the regular season this year due to a penalty. They were number 1 in the league. Number 2, the Chiefs at 13. Okay, all right. Other side of a coin. The Chiefs, all right, let me see if I can read this right. This makes them 3rd worst in the league, minus 846 penalty differential in yardage, negative 846 as far as calls going against them and the yardage differential. That makes them 3rd worst in the league. These are facts. I'll give my opinion in a second. All right, have also called for 196 holding penalties this year. That is the most in the NFL. I'm sorry, let me correct this. Both these stats are since Patrick Mahomes became the starting quarterback a few years ago. All right, that's a few years ago. Mahomes dropped back to pass more than 4,100 times. He has drawn just 30 roughing the passer penalties. That's only 16th, all right, in the NFL, right in the middle. Let's see. Kansas City has only accepted 2 penalties all season on 3rd or 4th down, which is towards the bottom of the league. Most teams have accepted way more penalties that continue their drives. All right. As I mentioned earlier, the Chiefs are 11-0 in one-score games. They seem to get the timely penalties, is what people think. In the second half of those one-score games this year, when you need those timely penalties, no team has had more flags thrown against them than the Chiefs. Active quarterbacks who've received the most roughing the passer penalties per 100 attempts. Number 1 in the league is Justin Fields. 3rd is Josh Allen. 21st is Patrick Mahomes. And then I've got a picture of Taylor Swift talking to Caitlin Clark for some random reason. So there's stats that go both ways. Here's my take. All right, is everyone just saying they're in cahoots, or is anybody else taking the other side of the coin?
Mostly just saying they're in cahoots.
Okay. I'm not a Chiefs fan. I have no dog in this fight. No matter what happens, there's going to be a great, almost movie-type script from the AFC side heading into the Super Bowl. Either you got the Chiefs trying to be the first team to ever three-peat, or you got the Bills trying to win their first ever Super Bowl, and I grew up watching them lose 4 straight Super Bowls. No team's ever been to 4 straight Super Bowls, ergo no team's ever lost 4 straight. There's going to be a good storyline no matter what coming out of the AFC. Here's how I see it. When I played, there was no script. The dog days of summer when you were doing 2-a-days and they came on the radio and they're like, it's too hot, put your dogs inside, and we're out there scrimmaging in full pads. Nobody ever told me what to do. Nobody ever said, miss a tackle, make a tackle. Obviously, I was trying to make the tackles. I don't buy into the script thing. And if it becomes so obvious that the NFL is trying to make the Chiefs win, to me, it would hurt them because you lose validity. All right? People are going to tune out because it becomes so obvious. I think some people hated Nebraska for so long, all they could see was the negative things about Nebraska because we were winning. Like when I was growing up on the West Coast, people rooted against Nebraska. They got tired of us kicking everyone's butts. I think some people are tired of the Chiefs winning, and I think they're looking for things. I think the Chiefs are good. I think they do get a few untimely calls that has me question it, which is why I looked up all those stats, by the way. I think it could go either way. It just depends on what you want to see. All right, ladies and gentlemen, have a glorious day. Go Big Red Nose. Remember to throw the ball.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com. On the internet, KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket.
Ever stare at the Hog Wild menu and feel like you just can't make up your mind because it all looks so good? Well, when I want a little bit of everything, I get a little bit of everything on Hog Wild's Smokestack Sandwich. On a butter-toasted bun, we pile on our hickory smoked beef brisket and juicy hot links. The hard part is choosing between fresh curly fries, classic baked beans, or coleslaw on the side. Order online at GoHogWild.com. Hog Wild Pit Barbecue, 3210 Cornhusker Highway in Lincoln.
Open at 8th and R in the Haymarket. Come check out Lincoln's newest brewery with 12 beers on tap, including the popular Single Axle Light American Lager, Brick Street Amber Wheat, and so many more. There's daily drink specials like $1 off Moscow Mules on Tuesdays, $6 IPAs on Fridays, and $6 Bloody Marys on Saturdays. Stop by Tuesday through Thursday